This past Tuesday marked the anniversary of the Guernica bombing. Guernica is a city in Spain, and Hitler's German Condor Legion and Italy bombed Guernica at 4:30 on Monday afternoon, the 26th of April, 1937. And Germany and Italy were supporting the nationalists in the Spanish Civil War, which was a conflict that lasted from about 1936 to about 1939. And in case you don't know, the ultimate result of the Spanish Civil War was a nationalist victory. It was the nationalists versus the Republic, the Spanish Republican government, and the nationalists won the Civil War. You had the dissolution of the Second Spanish Republic, and then this was the beginning of Franco's dictatorship. The painting became a perpetual anti-war symbol. It was commissioned by the Republican government of Spain the same year that the bombing occurred. And Picasso chose to paint this scene of, to kind of, like I said, commemorate the bombing in black and white. It's an oil painting, and it's on a large mural-sized canvas. This is 11 feet tall by 25.6 feet wide. So I think the first question that we can ask is, well, why black and white? And black and white really helps Picasso in this situation express the somber tone of his work, and it gives greater emphasis to the chaos of shapes rather than just distracting the viewer with a lot of random color. So let's look more now at the details of the painting. First of all, the overall scene is a room, and then at the opened end of the painting here on the left, you've got a bowl which is standing over a woman who's grieving with a dead child in her arms. The center of the painting is occupied by this crazed horse that has some sort of a javelin or a spear thrust right through it. And there's actually two, what they're called, hidden images related to this horse. And they took me like 20 minutes to find. Maybe you'll be luckier than I am. But overlaying the image of the horse, specifically the horse's body, is the profile or the side view of a human skull. And maybe here this decontrasting will make it a little bit more readily discernible. And also, and I don't have a photo of this necessarily to maybe help you see it, but the horse's knee, the horse's front leg with its knee where it's bent on the ground, is supposedly supposed to outline the profile of a bull's head, which appears to be gorging the horse from underneath. And this one took me even longer to figure out. The horse's kneecap, which is resting on the ground, forms like the snout or the nose of the bull. And then if you follow the profile or the line of the leg backwards and upwards, you can kind of see the outline of the bull's head. The bull's tail, and by the bull now I'm talking about the big bull over on the left-hand side of the painting, almost looks like it's on fire. And fire plays an important role in this painting as well. If you move over now to the far right-hand side of the painting, you can see a person with their arms stretched up, and they're almost being pulled, and it looks like they're being pulled in two different directions. You can see these kind of wispy triangles above and below the person, which are also supposed to represent fire, almost as if they're being dragged in two different directions between heaven and hell, with fire rising from each. Over on the left side, by the horse's tail, appears to be some sort of a window, and the only reason that we can say that is because the shading is notably lighter there. Under the horse is a dead soldier. It looks like he's been dismembered. You can see his head is lying toward the back of the horse. His arm is to the right of that, still clutching a sword, and it looks like there's some sort of a flower actually growing out of the dead soldier's hand. And his other hand, which is stretched out in front of his head, shows evidence of stigma, right? Which are symbols of martyrdom that were derived from the stigmata of Christ when he was crucified. The light bulb is a symbol of, well, first of all, the light itself is in the shape of an evil eye. Here's what the evil eye looks like, in case you're unfamiliar with those. But it's directly over the suffering horse's head. The bare bulb is supposed to be reminiscent of a torturer's cell, you know, with the light bulb hanging from the ceiling where the interrogating officer slaps the table to try to elicit a confession. Picasso's intended symbolism here with regard to the light was that it actually relates to the Spanish word for light bulb, which is bombilla. And bombilla makes an allusion to the word bomb, which in Spanish is bomba. So the word for light bulb and bomb sound very similar in Spanish, and therefore it's signifying the destructive effect which technology can have on society, the relationship between this light and the bomb, which is just basically a play on words. To the upper right-hand side of the horse, there's a frightened female figure who almost seems to be like a ghost. She's witnessing the scene before, but she appears to have floated into the room, almost, I said, like a ghost. And one of her arms, her right arm, is extended before, and it's carrying a fire-lit lamp. And the lamp is positioned very closely to the bulb. And remember, we talked about kind of the dark symbolism associated with the bulb. Well, in contrast to that, you've got this lit lamp right next to it. That could be interpreted as a symbol of hope, clashing with the destruction of the light bulb, by which we, drive this connection between the light bulb, bombia, and bomb. And then also, there's one other figure over on the bottom right-hand side of the painting, which appears to be another woman. Her leg is severely enlarged, which could be, perceived in a number of different ways, in addition to just being kind of the cubist method. And she appears to be kind of staring really intently at that light bulb. So there's a lot of things going on in this painting. Well, I guess the one last thing I'll mention is behind the bowl. I don't know if this is going to be easy to see because the painting is so dark and it's on a computer screen, but there appears to be a bird reaching kind of up toward the sky behind the bowl, which is sometimes interpreted as a dove. So once again, you can look at that as a symbol of hope, like the lamp that the woman floating through the window is holding. And and also the flower growing out of the dismembered soldier's hand. And then on the far right-hand side of the painting appears to be some sort of a door which is slightly ajar. So there's a lot going on in a painting like this, a powerful symbol, as I said, of anti-war protest, and really this event, which was, not necessarily anything specific. I mean, it was one of many battles and atrocities that were committed during the Spanish Civil War, and it might have been forgotten had not Picasso really preserved it through this painting. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Remember, if you like art as much as I do, please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll hit you up with a new painting every week. Have a great week, everybody.